Hi Internet, I'm John Appleseed. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we do a daily crossword puzzle. Let's try the Saturday New York Times crossword for June 20th, 2026. Constructed by Katie Hoody, edited by Will Schwartz. And let's get into the puzzle. Saturdays typically don't have a theme. We have some longish answers in the corners. That's kind of usual. So let's see what we've got here. One across is Dad's Pop. Perhaps. So grandfather or maybe dad's root beer. One down, destination for a day trip from Sorrento. Sorrento's in Italy, I think, so I don't know what it would be. Two down, got to. Nope, three down, break the bank, say, with a question mark. No, four down is what one might put on to impress others. You put on airs, but I think that's always used in the plural, at least in my experience. Five down, plans without. Not sure. Six down, website with a submit a rumor tab. What is that website that debunks rumors? Is it Snoops or Snopes? I think that might be it. Seven down, bulb that becomes translucent when heated. A bulb that becomes translucent when heated. No. Eight down is, that's a subject you should absolutely avoid. And we've got, this is a grid spanning answer, as is 37 across. So if we can get those, we'll have quite a few crossing letters to work with. That's a subject you should absolutely avoid. Don't talk about that. Nine down, fire blank, fire ant, maybe. Dad's Pop. 15 across is one might be used to launch promotional materials. Not sure about that. 17 across, that's not the whole story. That's not the whole story with an exclamation point. So maybe it's like a subfloor or some part of a story of a building that's not the whole story. 19 across, like the eyes of an American coot. No idea. 22 across, said who's who or what's what. No. 20 across is be prepared to take a weight off someone's shoulders with a question mark. So if you're spotting someone as they're doing squats, you are prepared to grab the weight in case they struggle. I think that's what that is. It's a weightlifting thing. 24 across is allies often share one. You share an enemy if you're allies, usually. 25 down, things that lions and zebras have in common. They both have manes. Zebras have manes down their back, the back of their neck like a horse. Manes have one around their face, but they're both called manes, right? 21 down, small storage units. That's probably computer storage. We'll try bytes to go with that Y we have from enemy. Fixture at a chocolate factory. I guess you would have a vat to mix the chocolate in. 34 across, soprano Fleming. Renee Fleming is an opera singer I've heard of. All right, let's try this corner. 10 across, attempt informally. A swing, I'll take a swing at it maybe. 16 across is it's often set on the stove while cooking. A timer, I think, is the answer, but I'm not sure. 18 across, fancy and then some. No, and 21 across, blank Howard, activist known as the mother of pride. Blank Howard, not sure about that. 10 down, big name in lights. Somebody who's famous in light bulbs or something. Westinghouse, something like that. 11 down, like Belmont's Big Sandy among Triple Crown racetracks. It's probably the EST, like the longest or the somethingest. Longest does fit. 12 down, nice try, wise guy. No, 13 down, jokey warning before diving into a niche topic. It might be similar to our don't talk about that. That's a subject you should avoid. Put on your seatbelts or something. 14 down, one of a noted quintet. What is a famous group of five? Not sure about that. Blank Howard. 26 across, turnovers, but not crumpets. Turnovers could be a statistic in hockey, basketball, or baseball. No, football, not baseball. So I think it's a stat. You don't take crumpets aren't a stat. Rate of passage The rate of passage is the time elapsed, perhaps. 36 across, call for a pass with a question mark. I think it's something like I'm open. But we need some kind of joke or pun to go with it. 35 down, can we get that? Score with some acid. Acid is used in etching to score the surface of whatever you're etching on. 37 across, that's our grid spanning across answer. I've done better. Not my best work. Does that fit? No, but I think it might be something like that. I've done better. Not my finest work. This is definitely an E. That's a subject you should absolutely avoid. Don't even go there. That fits. Okay. Let's try not my finest work. Does that fit? Yes. Then 34 down, man's name whose first 4 letters spell a word describing its last letters. I don't like clues like this. They hurt my head. A man's name. R-I. No. 38 down, arena. A field can be an arena, I guess. Ego is the Roman word for I. Is that what it is? Ringo, not a very common man's name, but yeah, ring describes the last letter. O, okay. Resonates beautifully. Rings like a bell. Okay. Rings like a bell. And Ringo. Rings and Ringo crossing. I think those are right. 48 across, state-sponsored wealth redistribution scheme. Could be a lottery or a lotto. 46 across, Margaret featured in Outstanding, a Comedy Revolution. Margaret Cho is a comedian I'm familiar with. 39 down, get out of here. Whoa, like an expression of surprise. 42 across, what might lead to a pile of dirty laundry. Nice try, wise guy. For 12 down. 13 down is jokey warning before diving into a niche topic. And 14 down is one of a noted quintet. Call for a pass. None of those are really clicking. 50 across is support of a sort. Get out of here. All right, we'll come back to that section. 31 across is with 28 down, set, hanging by a door. Set hanging by a door. 40 across, hooter, an owl is a hooter. 43 across, blank Eubank, Hall of Fame football coach. Don't know. 47 across, punch. Nope, 54 across, I'm not sure what to make of that. That's how I kind of feel right now. 59 across, blushing matter. No, 62 across, NBA analyst Burke. Is it Doris Burke? That rings a bell. I'm not sure I've got that right. 64 across, smooth and shiny. No, fair weather followers. Fair weather followers. Ending with a D-S ending, probably. Snowbirds are people who follow the fair weather to Florida or other places where they spend the winter. Okay, 32 down. Saw getting turned on, say. Is this some kind of electrical saw, circular saw that gets turned on, or you saw somebody getting aroused? Don't want to speculate too widely about that. 33 down, chillaxing. More formally, you are at leisure. Yes. Blank Eubank. What's 31 across? Set hanging by a door. Are they keys? Spare keys. Sings. Resonates beautifully. It sings. Okay, yeah. It really sings. Yeah, I like that. Then 27 across, be my guest, and go right ahead. Those are okays, approvals you might give. Stories of college students. Stories does refer to buildings here. dormitories have stories. Spare keys. Saw getting turned on. Yeah, maybe a power something. Blank Eubank. Punch. It's a beverage or a blow. I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm blushing matter. Rouge is a makeup, or also known as blush. Smooth and shiny. A power tool is a saw that gets turned on. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure what to make of that. It's odd. Yes. Okay. Anchor position. A news anchor would be at a desk. Get down to boogie. Sleek for smooth and shiny. Brio for punch. Yeah, brio like emphasis. Soy un paraje con brillo, donde mi infancia surtí. Weeb Eubank is not a name I've heard of. Is that short for Webster, maybe? At leisure. Power tool. Snowbird. Boogie. Boogie Wonderland. Yeah, I think boogie is right. All right, I'm going to try Weeb Eubank and trust to luck there. Okay, does that help over here? That gives me not my finest work. It gives me confidence that not my finest work is correct. Maybe let's look at this corner. 56 across. Helen, with the podcast, go fact yourself. Helen Hunt, the actress? Who else? Is there another Helen? Wasn't there a White House correspondent named Helen? She was there for many years. Moment of high spirits for 49 down. It's wine o'clock. It's happy hour. High spirits. Nope. 46 down. Some vacation rentals. No. 60 across is creature whose appendages allow it to camouflage in masses of kelp. It might begin with C, a C something. 60 down. Blank de Mayo. Symbol on the flags of Argentina and Uruguay. So I know that Argentina at least has a sun on it. And yeah, I think our Uruguay has theirs in the corner. That is a Sol de Mayo, a sun. I didn't know it was called the sun of May, but Sol de Mayo is what that means. Creature whose appendages, I think it is a sea something. Sea cucumber or something like that. 63 across. That's what they say anyway, or so I hear. Moment of high spirits. Celebratory opening. And some vacation rentals. 57 down is shake hand or pen hold in table tennis. Those sounds like kind of grips. 61 down is sound made when something snaps into place. Aha! I often say to myself while doing crossword puzzles. 51 down, got it. No, 52 down, Rijeka native. Where is that? Maybe it ends in an AN. We get a word like Fijian or Samoan or something, but something that fits. 53 down, Blank Lewis Gates Jr., host of PBS's Finding Your Roots. That's a fascinating show. That's Henry Louis Gates. Okay. Then 50 across was what? Support of a sort. An arch is a support of a sort. Then we can get whoa, as Keanu Reeves might say, for get out of here. Is this chore? You're doing a chore and that leads you to do a pile of dirty laundry? I'm not quite sure about that. Got it. Maybe right. Don't know. Natural resource seen in arboretums. Arbor meaning tree, right? So arboretums would be a place where you have a lot of trees. What is the natural resource that would be there? A sea something. It's camouflaged in masses of kelp. So it has to have appendages that look like kelp, I guess. Helen, moment of high spirits is a toast when you're holding your alcoholic beverage high in the air, making a toast. Helen Hong. You might rent a condo for vacation. Okay, I'm not familiar with Helen Hong, but condo seems to fit. A sea dragon is not something I'm familiar with, but it sounds like it might be a sea creature with appendages that look like kelp. Got it. Oh, I like right for that. This would be, or so I, well, this does look like an H. Celebratory opening. Let's party, you might say, to begin at the time of celebrating. Roger, forgot it. Roger, as the droid said. So I hear. And a Croat. Rijeka must be in Croatia. And or. Oh, this is the kind of cryptic crossword clue I typically have trouble finding. It should be the easiest one because the answer is right there. O-R-E is a word that is found in the word arboretums. So there is what that is. Okay, here we go. We just got the top portions of the puzzle to do. I'm going to come back to this section. Okay, one down. Destination for a day trip from Sorrento. So it is some Italian place with 5 letters. Said who's who, or what's what. You rhymed, who's who, what's what. Got to. Does that end in a D? Break the bank. Say, are we talking about a river bank, like a levee? Are we talking about going bankrupt somehow? 4 down. What one might put on to impress us? If it is an heir, that doesn't help me with any of these other ones. Dad's Pop, is that some kind of soda? Pop could be soda there. There is a brand of Dad's root beer. What else would be Dad's soda? Papa's soda or something? Cream soda is something typically drunk by older gentlemen like myself. I like a good cream soda. Bulb that becomes translucent when heated. Onions get more translucent when you sweat them a little bit in a pan with some olive oil. Let's try fire ant. That's not the whole story. And one might be used to launch promotional materials. This is some kind of t-shirt cannon or a tea cannon. Usually you see those at sporting events when they launch promotional t-shirts into the crowd. Plans out, maps out. Maybe this is cream soda for Dad's Pop. Let's just put that in there and see. Like cream soda is often spelled with an M-E ending. What would you put on to impress others? You might put on an act. Break the bank. Got to. And destination for a day trip from Sorrento. Okay, I don't know about tea cannon either. That's not the whole story. It's a moot point, so you don't continue the story. Maybe. Like the eyes of an American coot. And said, who's who or what's what. Got to break the bank. What other kind of cannon is there than a t-shirt cannon? Kind of like that. Could it be Capri? Is that near Sorrento? I don't know my Italian geography very well. So if you identify identified something, someone or something. You might be saying who is who or what's what. Okay, I like that. Got to. Maybe American coots have red eyes. That's a bird, isn't it? That's not the whole story. Arm cannon? This is cream soda. Break the bank. Evade, elude. Part, point, got to, riled. Part of a story is a plot point. To erode is to erode a levee. Okay, and I guess those t-shirts cannons, they are air cannons is what they use to launch the shirts. All right, so we'll spell cream soda like that. The Isle of Capri must be within a day's journey of Sorrento, and I think that corner is done. All right, now we've got this one. Attempt. Let me just put in swing and see if that gives me anything to work with. I'm going to try timer for something set on the stove while cooking. Fancy and then some. This is Brenda. Brenda is just a name that fits here. Okay, let's try that. So big name in lights. If you're a star of a show, your name might be in lights on the marquee. Maybe Belmont is or Big Sandy is the widest racetrack among the Triple Crown ones. Nice try, wise guy. I'm on to you, wise guy. You might put dirty laundry in a laundry chute, and at the bottom, the chute would lead to dirty laundry, a pile of dirty laundry. I'm on to you. Okay. Fancy and then some. To fancy someone as a verb. So you more than fancy someone, you adore them. Nerd alert, you might say, before you go into depth into something about crossword puzzles or some other kind of nerdy topic. There are 5 Great Lakes. So that is a noted quintet. A rate of passage is the toll you have to pay to pass. Call for a pass, yay or nay. You're voting for a law, and I think A finishes the puzzle. 23:15. So not too bad in terms of time. However, there were quite a few points where, like with sings, or I had rings there. I almost started singing a song, but my brain was too caught up in thinking about other parts of the puzzle that I couldn't quite figure out a song that worked there. And to me, that's kind of an informal marker that I'm spending a lot of mental energy on the puzzle as opposed to having some background memory that's capable of coming up with a song to sing. So I'm going to call this a difficult puzzle. This was Anna Slovit Ayrton, I think. I forget who the constructor was. No, Katie Hoody, maybe. Yeah, I'm going to put them on my list of difficult constructors. A road took me a long time to figure out. This whole corner was just very difficult. I wasn't quite sure what a coot was. Now that I got red, I think it's some kind of a bird, and ID'd was just really difficult to figure out. So Snopes, I think, was the first thing I got in the puzzle, but it didn't help me too much with this corner. I had to come back and do quite a bit of work on that. I think Don't Even Go There, once I had some crossing letters, I got that, and then I had best work as the ending here, but I did get this ESTWORK filled in. And again, that didn't really help me with this corner. I had to do a lot of work up there. So I think maybe this was the easiest one for me. Not a lot of crossword E's in here. By crossword E's, I mean words that show up in a lot of puzzles. I don't think I've seen Snopes in a puzzle before. Ringo has been, but it's not like you don't see him in a lot of crossword puzzles, or kind of shows up a lot, but that's a different way to clue it, using a kind of cryptic definition there. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. Please come back and join me on my channel for more puzzles and games, and I'll see you next time.